Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mahdi Tijani back with you. I was having a discussion with my 13-year-old girl the other day, and we were talking about marriage, and I gave her two general pieces of advice with regards to marriage, with regards to when she looks to seek a spouse, and I thought that it would be pertinent for me to share this with you, and also for a word to the men as well. Firstly and foremostly, it's been very trendy lately. There's been a fascination with the proverbial high-value man. And this comes in and out of fashion, the word itself, but the actual description of what type of man that is has always been desired. A high-value man is a 1% man. He's an elite man. He is a man who is elite on many spectrums. Financially, his character, his mindset, his ambition, his maturity, his network, his connections, on and on. That type of individual, that type of man has always been in desire. There's nothing new here. Just the term itself seems to have come back into fashion again. And as I've covered many times in the past, high-value men have the pick of the litter when it comes to women. And as a general rule, all men of all ages, no matter what their age, they all have a proclivity towards the same type of woman. And that is a woman who's young, fit, fertile, feminine, friendly, agreeable, nice, pleasant. It's pretty much it. But there is an emphasis on youth. And now that we have dating apps and we can actually collect the data has been collected. The data is in. Men from ages of 20 to 60. In this particular study, I forget the name of the dating app. I think it was Bumble. But men from that 40-year age span all had a natural proclivity towards the same demographic of women, 23-year-old women, generally speaking. Well, I think it was 20 to 23-year-old women. That's just the way it is. What men seek in a woman is simple. Men don't tend to look for much in a woman. What women seek for in men is often complex. Women are notoriously have a reputation for a long laundry list of requirements when looking for a husband. Women, generally speaking, don't seek to qualify a man, they seek to disqualify a man. That is, they begin their vetting process from a position of, what do you do that I don't like so I can disqualify you? Whereas men tend to look at it from the opposite, which is, what does she have that qualifies herself to me? And the list of requirements that men have are much less than that. Than what women have. And this is not a matter of right and wrong. There's no moral ground here. This is not me moralizing and pointing fingers at women. No, it's because women need more from men, historically anyway. Now less so, particularly in the West, when we've got the government to take care of single moms and society in general. But historically, throughout the whole of human time, women have been dependent upon men. Therefore, their needs are greater. They're the ones who get pregnant. They're the ones who are vulnerable. They are the ones who need more from a man than a man needs from a woman. Now, when we're dealing with a high-value man in particular, the needs of a high-value man don't change. What he looks for in a woman is exactly the same as when he was a low-value man or an average man. Only that now he's looking for the same things, but for women who score higher on the spectrum, on those list of same things. So if she's beautiful, if she's an attractive woman, he's going to be looking for a more attractive woman. If she's feminine, friendly, fit, he's going to be looking for a woman who's more feminine, more friendly, more fit. So scoring higher on the same metrics. But there's no additional metrics to be added. And I see men tripping on this sometimes when I watch podcasts and interviews. High-value men, and they're like, what are you bringing to the table? And the girls say these things, I'm feminine, friendly, and so on and so forth. And like, what is that it? Is that it? Don't stunt, bro. You know that there's not much else that you want. And then they try and make things up on the spot. Oh, I need her to run my business. No, you don't. Stop waffling. You're thinking, you're trying. I think men sometimes have they have this epiphany themselves, like, oh, yo, I actually don't need her for much. What do I need her for? And they try and make things up on the fly. When the truth is that men of all socioeconomic spectrums, whether he's high value or low value, look for the same things. But if you happen to be a man who's in demand, a man who is highly desirable to many women, then you have the luxury of being able to choose women who score higher on the spectrum. So, on that metrics, the same metrics, but who just simply score higher. So what advice did I give to my 13-year-old? Well, I gave her 2 pieces of advice. And before I get to that, I will say the following. To the young ladies watching, to all ladies watching for that matter, but particularly to the young ladies, 25 and below. You guys are all chasing the same type of man. That man is rare. The proverbial high value man, high earner, 6-figure earner, 6 foot plus, 6-pack abs, on and on and on. That man is rare. You may be young right now. You may be beautiful. You may be feminine, friendly. You may have all of those traits, which as a result qualify you to be able to, or I should say, maximize your chances of attracting this type of man. I'm not saying it's impossible for an older woman, by the way, to attract this type of man. It happens all the time. It's just rare and it's harder. That's reality. Is it impossible? No. Is it harder? Yes. So, a younger girl, generally speaking, stands a higher chance of attracting that type of man. However, just because you qualify doesn't mean you deserve. And I want this point to be very succinct and important to establish it in your mind. Just because you qualify for him doesn't mean you deserve him. Qualifying is I meet the minimum criteria to shoot my shot. Deserve means I am bringing an equal amount to the table, an equal amount of quality and value to the table as he is bringing to me. This is fundamentally, patently untrue. It's not true. For the reason I mentioned earlier. Women have a greater, longer laundry list of requirements from men than men do from women. What women look for in men, that list is longer and more difficult to check and tick for a man than it is for you as a woman to check his boxes. He's looking for a few things. For you to look nice, for you to be nice, for you to cook nice. It's pretty much it. Look nice, be nice, cook nice. The end. We can literally stop that discussion right there. What you're looking for in a man is lengthy laundry list. Therefore, he or she who has the longer list of requirements by default is in greater need of the other person. If I have 100 points of need from someone and that other person only has 3 points of need from me, who's the more needy person? I'm more needy because I have a longer list of requirements of things that I need to be met by that person. Therefore, ladies, even if you qualify for that type of man, you don't deserve him. This is not, I deserve, I should. This is my God-given right. No, you merely qualify. And you need to understand this. Even if you qualify, you're still most probably not going to land him because he's so rare. Do you know how difficult it is, especially if we're going to add Islam into the mix now, to find a practicing Muslim man who earns 6 figures plus, who's in good shape, who's over 6 foot, who has good character, akhlaq, deen, on and on. You know how hard that is to find that type of man? You basically might as well forget about it because there's so many detailed requirements that you're looking for. So again, just to hammer home this point, just because you qualify doesn't mean you deserve. Why am I saying this? Because too many sisters are waiting and waiting and waiting for this rare individual to come along, and as a result, they are disqualifying themselves by aging out of the game. Ladies, you have a short period of time for you to maximize your youth, beauty, fertility, and land the best possible man that you can. Very finite period of time where men will find you the most desirable. Now, does that mean once you pass that time that you are no longer desirable? No, I am not saying that. Don't take my words out of context. What I am saying is you are most desirable in your late teens, early 20s. Your desirability declines thereafter, which simply means your ability, your pulling power, your ability to command what you want declines with it. Nature, it is what it is. So don't wait so long that you age out of the game, and now you end up taking whatever you can take, or even worse still, you take nothing. There's been a study done by Morgan and Stanley. I said it was Merrill Lynch the other day, but it wasn't Merrill Lynch. It was Morgan and Stanley. It's a bank. And as you know, as all great corporations do, including banks, they predict the future based upon current trends, based upon current stats. They create algorithms, and they try to create a detailed picture of what the future will look like. And what Morgan and Stanley have found is that 10 years from now, by 2030, 45% of all women of prime working age, that is the ages of 25 to 45, will be single and childless. I'll say it again. Nearly half the planet of females between the ages of 25 to 45 will be single and childless. Why? Many reasons, but one of those reasons is this: I deserve such and such, and if I can't have such and such, I'd rather have nothing. And this is just fundamentally illogical. Being single is not an achievement. It's actually a source of great misery, especially for women who derive their primary happiness not from career accomplishments, contrary to popular belief. No, you do not derive your primary happiness from career accomplishments. Women derive their primary happiness and satisfaction from the family unit, rearing her own kids, seeing them raise, seeing her children grow up. How many successful career women who didn't have children, and this has been the source of deep regret for them at the end of their lives. Deep regret, not even the end of their lives, 40 plus. Deep regret. Not one woman who had kids said, I have a deep regret that I didn't pursue my career. She might have a regret that she didn't, continue her education and so on, but not to the point where it's crippling her, not to the point where it's causing her major depression. Not one woman said that ever. It is more important to a woman, generally speaking, to most women, to have their children and their family and be in the family, raising the family, being the school of the family. It is men who have this natural inclination and proclivity towards conquering, creating empires, building. That's a manly trait. It's men who want to do that. So to the ladies, I say to you, don't age yourself out the game. My 13-year-old girl, she's exposed obviously to a lot of these discussions all the time. And she's very grateful for it because it's given her a leg up on the competition by the time she wants to look to get married herself. And she asked me, what advice would I give her when it comes to getting married? Because who doesn't want to marry the high value man? Who doesn't want to marry that type of man? And this is the advice I gave her. I said to her, even if you want to get married young and you are eligible, you're at your most desirable to the high value man, it is most likely for you to be able to find that type of man. Your chances are still slim. Still, because that type of man is so rare. So I said to her, look for these two qualities in a man. If he fits just these two qualities, 2, not 20, not 200, not 2,000, 2. If he meets these 2 simple qualities, then you should have serious consideration to marrying him. The first one was what the Prophet ﷺ said. If a man comes to you and his deen and his character impresses you, marry your daughter to him. And that's the advice I gave to her. I said, if you find a man, he comes your way, and his deen and his character impress you, you should pay attention. Be alert. That's the first thing, but not the only thing. Because there are plenty of practicing Muslim men who spend the whole day in the masjid signing on the dole. So it's not the only thing. It was the first part, however, the first piece of the jigsaw puzzle. That's the first thing. He's practicing. He prays 5 times a day. He is conscious and aware of his obligations and duties to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If he cannot give Allah his rights, Allah's rights, how is he going to give you your rights? Impossible. He or she who cannot fulfill the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala over us cannot give the people their rights. It's impossible. If he doesn't care about praying 5 times a day, he doesn't care about transgressing the right of his Lord, why would he or she care about transgressing your right? They wouldn't. So that's the first thing. Someone who fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not just in speech, but in action. Prays 5 times a day, on time, all the time. First piece of the jigsaw puzzle. Second piece of the jigsaw puzzle, particularly, I said, if you're going to be looking for a younger man, meaning a man in your age range, 4 to 5 years older than you, we have to understand that most men in that age range are not established yet. They're still building themselves, which is perfectly fine. It takes a long time for a man to establish himself. So I said the second thing you want to look for is not wealth, it's not abundance, it's not luxury lifestyle. No. So the second piece of the jigsaw puzzle you want to look for is ambition and a plan. Together, those two together. Ambition and a plan to achieve that ambition. He wants to become a doctor. He wants to become an engineer. He wants to establish his own business. Great. That's the first thing. And then does he have a plan for achieving it? And I'd like to see that plan. Meaning, what's he doing on a daily basis, every single day, to one day realize his dream, his ambition come to fruition? To one day become a GP, to one day become a lawyer, to one day become a successful businessman. What's his plan? Let's have a look. If he fulfills those 2 criteria I said to her, you need to give him serious consideration. I didn't say nothing about height. She's relatively short, 5'2", so height shouldn't be too much of a problem for her. Looks, okay, yes, I understand looks are important, but we're not looking for an old Brad Pitt out here or whatever. Someone who pleases you to the eye, but keep it easy, Annie. We're not looking for Brad Pitt. We're looking for someone, alhamdulillah, he's nice, he's in shape, good, he's healthy, great. Don't be too extreme on yourself, I said to her, in your requirements, because you will age yourself out. And you don't deserve. Take this word out of your mind. You qualify for this type of man, for the proverbial high value man, but you don't deserve. No woman, no woman deserves him. None. I'll say it again. No woman deserves a 1% man. There are a number of women who qualify for him. They qualify. But no woman deserves, categorically deserves, like it's her God-given right. None at all. Why? For the simple reason I just mentioned. The list of requirements that women have from men is far greater than what men have from women. Therefore, he, or in this instance she, who has the greater list of requirements is in greater need of the other person. That makes you more needy. That makes you less deserving. He who brings more to the table is more deserving. What you bring to the table as a lady, even if you tick those boxes of what high value men are looking for, it's common. Feminine, friendly, agreeable, youth if you have it. Those are great things. That's what a man is looking for. All men, especially high value men. They're all looking for the same thing. All men are looking for the same thing, but high value men have more power in dictating those terms and actually being able to get that because they bring more to the table. But unfortunately for you, my sister, those things are common. Those qualities are common. Youth, beauty, fertility, feminine, friendly. Well, you could argue that being feminine is less common these days, but nevertheless, for the most part, it's common. However, what he brings to the table is rare. It is rare. Especially if he meets that financial threshold immediately. If you earn over 100,000 a year, you're in the top 10% of earners. Right off the rip. If he's over 6 foot, less than 14% of the population of men, of human beings, are 6 foot. Less than 3% of men are over 6'2". You didn't know that, did you? What he brings to the table, and then on top of all of that, he has the most important things, his character, his akhlaq, his deen, how much Quran is he memorized. He's bringing far more to the table than you are. That's not demeaning you, I'm just saying. What you bring to the table is common. Now, I'll make an exception here. If you're Hafidh al-Quran, I have a friend, his wife's Hafidh al-Quran, straight away you're in the top 1% of women, right off the rip. You're Hafidh al-Quran, it means that you can make his children Hafidh Quran. Now you're special. Now you're special. I'll say that. He's still bringing more to the table, but definitely you're special. Why? Because you memorize the book of Allah. This is very rare amongst men and women. to have memorized the book of Allah. With that aside, and this is a Muslim requirement, by the way. If you're not Muslim, then you're not even going to care about this. But with that aside, everything else you bring as a woman to the table is common. Your beauty, your femininity, your friendliness, that's common. But that high value man, what he brings is rare. Therefore, you don't deserve him. You qualify, perhaps, but you don't deserve him. And that's why I said to my 13-year-old, look for those two things. His deen, firstly and foremostly. And then, is he ambitious, and does he have a plan to go about achieving those ambitions? Those are the two most important things. And to the young men watching this right now, I'll say to you this. I've had a number of conversations in my DM with some of you guys, and I'm frankly getting sick and tired of hearing your complaints and your moaning. You sound like bitches. I'm sick of it. Oh, it's so hard and so on. Yes, good morning, welcome. That's the game. The game got harder. As soon as Instagram got developed and the rest of social media, the game got harder. Why? Because all women were exposed to globalized sexual marketplace, marriage marketplace, and now all women desire the same type of man, that 1% man. They're all following him, they're all watching his lifestyle, and they all think that all men have that, which is patently untrue, obviously. Nevertheless, that's what they think. That's why we have these ridiculous demands of mahar these days, and viral videos that have been made about it. That's the game. Adapt or die. I don't care. I don't want to hear your complaints as a man. I don't care. I don't give two shits. Is it hard? Yes. Is it harder? Yes. I don't care. Run faster. Work harder. You're a man. You should understand this. This is the game. We compete. This is what we live for. This is what we live for. We compete against each other. Compete. Run faster. Train harder. Work longer hours. Whatever it is. Whatever it is that you do. But don't complain to me, because I don't care, nor does anyone else. Run faster or just stay single. Be an incel, whatever it is. Is it fair? No, it's not fair. Life's not fair. Get used to it. I got no sympathy for you. And to the ladies, remember, when you're in your prime, look for those two things. His deen, and then is he ambitious, and does he have a plan? Because if you're looking for a man in your age range, maybe your late teens, early 20s, and you're looking for a man in that age range, he's not going to be established. Very, very, very unlikely. It's going to take him 10, 15, 20 years to do that. So look for those two things, and one day, inshallah ta'ala, he will be. Jazakumullah khair. If you found value in this video, hit the like, hit the subscribe, share this with a friend. Gentlemen, if you want to join me on my men's private community on Patreon, hit the link below. All the details are there, and I'll catch you in the next one, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.